One of the most recent features we've added into the game is the experience report. So scrolling up, it gives you some baseline information about your dungeon experience, such as the difficulty level. Dungeons, adventures, and D&D Online have 3 different difficulty settings: normal, hard, and elite. You have to complete the dungeon on normal in order to earn the ability to go into hard, and complete it on hard in order to go into elite. Completing the dungeon on elite gives you a one-time only experience point bonus for having done so. In addition to the base XP and the level of the dungeon, you also get to see what types of optional objectives are available in the dungeon. Sometimes those are revealed as soon as you enter the dungeon to give you a context of what lies ahead. Other times you have to come across those experiences in order to unlock them. It also gives you some information about, for example, how often you've re-entered the dungeon, what level you are compared to the dungeon level. This is all to give you a sense of how the XP calculation is actually taking in effect once you've gone ahead and conquered the dungeon. Finally, and the coolest part of the experience report, are the dungeon statistics. So this is a listing of what you've done inside that dungeon. So for example, how many monsters you and anyone in your party have killed, how many treasure chests you found, how many traps you've disabled, how many secret doors or other types of secrets you've discovered in the dungeon, and how many breakables you've smashed. Depending on how successful you are in any of those objectives compared to the total number of possible items there are to do in each category, you'll earn another type of experience point bonus. So for example, if there are 100 monsters in the dungeon and you killed all 100, you and your party will get a mega death bonus. Conversely, if you and your party manage to get through a dungeon without killing, by killing say less than 5% of monsters, you and your party would receive a stealth bonus. So this is all just to incentivize the different ways that D&D players typically approach their various adventures. So here we have a rogue going through one of our dungeons in D&D Online. The rogue plays a really important part in the gameplay of DDO. So here, for example, he gets a message that's letting him know that his spot skill detected something that might be hidden. So here the rogue can engage in his search. And he discovers there a secret door. But in addition to spotting and searching, a rogue can also do such things as move silently in the dungeon. So there, both the opacity of the character, the footsteps he's making, and the eyes next to him is telling him how sneaky he's being, which in this case was not sneaky enough for the spider's spot skill. Here, that symbol above the rogue's head is letting him know that he's poisoned. So typically players will often come across in dungeons either side passages or certain types of obstacles that only a rogue or another type of class can get through. Typically the main path in the dungeon is not blocked by those things, but rather side paths that would lead to either additional experience points or additional treasure. So generally a party will find it in their best interest to have a variety of different classes and abilities available to them as they journey through the dungeon. Here's an example of a rest shrine that players will typically come across in D&D Online. So to the left is the actual rest shrine in which players can heal back some hit points and some of their spell points in order to keep them going throughout the dungeon. To the right is a resurrection shrine where players would have to bring a fallen comrade soul stone in order to resurrect them. So here his spot skill is letting him know that there were danger ahead. He decided to blindly go forth anyway. But upon a careful search, revealing the different traps. Now some traps have a control box that you can use to disable them. Other traps, there are no control boxes, and it's rather up to the players, figuring out exactly how best to get through the trap without taking any damage. Here the player is getting held by, there's a number of spellcasters on the various platforms both above and below the player. So again, D&D Online is very much a game conducive to going in with your friends and partying together. There are solo adventures, and some players will be able to succeed in solo play. But just like the heart of tabletop D&D is you and your friends having a good time together going through a dungeon, the same is true for DDO. We really wanted to make sure that all the dungeon adventures had really good and key moments for each different type of character class, so that really the players can operate together effectively as opposed to just trying to do it alone. There is no such thing as the concept of a one-man army in D&D Online.